Hi, everyone. We're just messing with settings.
Yeah.
It's going to take some time for me to get everything running here, so it's okay. You guys can just keep talking about weather.
We'll talk about weather. Tell us about the weather where you guys are. Because where we are, it's hot and humid where all three of us are. Except for right now, it's fall time, so it's feeling beautiful.
It's usually hot wherever I am. I think I make it hot and humid. You know what I mean? Some people say that I'm full of something, but anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't.
We could watch Civilization.
Yeah, okay, it's sharing my screen. I'm not watching Civilization. I'm just going to YouTube to try to make sure we're live, and for some reason, my last video watched is popping up.
Hey, there we are.
Yeah, there we are. There we are indeed.
Okay, so
we chat open here.
Yeah, let me get the chat open as well.
Eric's full of echo.
I am.
You got an echo from everyone but Luke is what somebody's saying.
Oh no!
And Benjamin Nicholson. Ruby Waters. Hey, what's up, Ruby?
I got my headphones on.
I got my headphones on too.
I got my headphones on as well.
Why would there be echo sources? This is the first time we're looping in multiple different people, guys. So that's why clicking around a little bit. Eric, do you have any idea why you have an echo? Is it an NDI?
You've got many our audio is on. No, that's not it.
We're doing everything that's supposed to be done. So,
wait, is your audio just microphone? It's not like your output. It's your microphone, right?
Yeah, I've got my headphone in right here.
Yeah.
I think you guys have your headphones in too.
Yep. I got a separate mic, and I've got no audio in the room except for the audio that's coming out of my mouth.
Nice.
Same here.
So, chat, tell us if it's okay, if it's tolerable, if it's fine, or what's going on.
Yeah, James Cartwright says bit quiet and some echo. Benjamin blames Don. So
yeah.
Don's
fault. It's
true.
Probably. Luke sounds awesome as always. What the hell? Bunch of brown nose, man.
Ben is saying it's pretty awful. And
Ruby says
so it looks like there's different.
Come on, Ben is pulling our leg. Ruby's saying it's fine.
Hey, here's the thing, guys. We have like 2 guests lined up to come in, so we do want to make sure we have the. Well, let's see. Let's call Marty in and see if it'll echo in as well.
Yeah.
Let's just add to the chaos and
triple the echo.
Triple the echo. Let's find out. Maybe this will solve everything. So.
It won't solve everything.
All right, Marty, hold on a second. Let me add you in. Let me transition this, guys. This is real-time action right now, so
that's some awesome action.
Let me let's find out if this will work.
Is he? Are you adding him?
I am adding him right now as we speak. It's coming.
No. You know what's cool is I can't hear him at all.
Hello.
How
are you?
And we're all rocking the.
I don't say Eric did the memo. Yeah.
All right, so has the sound gotten better or much, much worse?
Basically, Lord means it's gotten worse.
I'm it's gotten better. Oh, Lord, how good it is.
All right, well, all right. Worse.
I'm not talking.
Oh no, Don is not a happy camper about this. All right, so Eric, you're the godfather of all these NDI sources and everything. Is there anything going on here? Is there?
I don't know what is going on with your audio mixer. You don't have a lot of sources.
Well, hold on.
Oh look, when I talk, everything goes up. Why is everything going up?
Let me try that. This was just a shot in the dark. All right, Eric, say something.
Hello.
All right, David.
Now me, I'm talking.
And now we got Marty.
Check 1, 2, check.
All right.
Now it's only one source.
So did that fix things, chat?
Just hit X on those speakers, on those two speakers. See on the speakers in your audio, just hit X. There you go.
All right. It might work now. I'm thinking this might have done something, but
I think it has.
Oh, see, look at that. See, we might have fixed it. Cool. All right.
Eric sounds better.
Better.
Whew. All right. Thank you all.
Did it fix my southern accent? Just
No.
curious.
Oh, there's nothing to fix.
All right.
Cool. All right. So, with that being said, this was just real time. You guys were a part of it, so enjoy that. Real time tech issues. But here we are. Thanks for joining us. Those of you watching on YouTube, those of you watching on Twitch, on Periscope, Facebook. We are doing the wrap up after Spiel Digital. This is going to be a super casual event, as you probably already saw and guessed. We're just going to be hanging out. We're going to be talking. We're going to have Steven popping in a little bit later as well. And we're just going to talk about kind of the cons 2020, our thoughts and experiences on the digital conventions, just chatting about different things that kind of are on our mind, and talking about 2021, looking ahead. Just a fun little wrap up. Everyone's going to be chatting about their experiences. I see over here that I got a message from Marty 20 minutes ago saying, what are the talking points? So, so there you go.
Thank you.
Now, Luke, when you say casual, make sure I understand this. I understood that the memo was we're not to have pants on.
It wasn't a memo, but it is pants optional. And I know you took advantage of that option. So
Right. I feel good right now.
Cool.
This is the most comfortable I've been on a stream ever. So,
all right, as it should be. All right, I'm going to move my camera so I can actually see the chat here. That's too far moved. There we go. All right, so just taking a quick peek at the chat. People are commenting on Marty's age. Of course, like a wine. Everyone is happy. We are rocking and rolling. Perfect. All right, so welcome everyone. So those of you who do not know, my name is Luke, Director of Operations with Portal Games US. Above me, right over here, is David. He is Head of Sales and Retail Relations. Those of you who watched the game show know that one of the questions Ignatz asked was guessing how long David and I have been part of the company. And actually, that's a cool question to ask Eric and Marty. So together, total, how long have David and I been employees of Portal Games US?
Full-time employees.
Full-time employees.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think, Luke, for you, it's been 2 years.
That's what I think too. I think maybe two and a half, right at this point, maybe. So, and David, I know he just came on this year, so I think it's 3 years total.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sounds
Answer
good.
is 5 months. It's
Yeah.
a little bit of a trick question. I was an independent contractor for the first 2 years.
Oh, give me a break. Hey, the press release came out 2 years ago. Oh, come on. This is bogus.
That's what it is. Yeah, when David came on board, it was a good time to transition and deal with all the paperwork. I just didn't have time. But yeah, that was so yeah, we were able to sneak out a point there with that trick question. But there's David. We have Marty here as well, the one D only from Rolling Dice and Taking Names, and Captain Link. So thank you guys for being here.
Yes.
And we've Steven, actually, the podfather of gaming, is currently recording with the repetitive voice in my head, known as Ignatz Shevchik. So once he's done, he'll come over with where the real fun is happening. So.
Cool. Look, this is an honor for me. I'm a big fan of everybody on this stream, so it's an honor for me to be amongst this greatness here.
You don't get points from me. You get no points.
You do get moon pies from me, so it
good.
worked.
Thank goodness. Look, I'm also a big fan of the captain, so I'm a big fan of everybody here. So
okay.
Have you, David? Have you won any of the games you played on Friday against Eric?
No, not a single one.
Okay. Trend continues.
Yes, the trend continues. He beat me by 2 points this last time. It was a close match, and for a while I was ahead, but he came back and won.
Cool. All right, so I'm going to toss it to Marty first, and let's just kind of jump right into it. So the topic at hand is obviously 2020 was a wild year, a lot of stuff happening. And we're going to keep it on the side of focusing on just what you thought about, obviously how missing conventions and missing that engagement and that interaction, but kind of the digital convention sphere. It really all hit at Gamma, and I don't think we had a single convention after Gamma, right? They were just kind of canceled one after another, and the online conventions started creeping up after that. I think PortalCon being one of the first ones. So what are your thoughts on kind of all of that happened?
Well, I mean, you did the best with what you could, right? So obviously, I think everybody missed the personal conventions. I know I did immensely. I know that a lot of, especially with Portal, I mean, there were some games that were supposed to come out this year that are not right. It's been pushed back because of everything that went on. If we'd had a regular convention, it would have happened. I think virtual cons are a great substitute for at least getting the message out and getting some buzz. If I had any little cynicism, it's almost overwhelming at this point of how many that there are, to where I feel like some of it's becoming white noise. It's like I feel like every week there's one of these, and it's like I just can't keep up with anymore. Early on, it was like one a month. Cool. But then it's like it's insane because everybody's doing their like Spiel and Gen Con did their own digital con, and then every publisher's doing their own con. It's just
well, Gen Con still has people on the payroll there. They've got they're still broadcasting.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they've got sort of Gen Con TV going on right now.
But
so.
David and I have talked about this, and we agree. In a way, this has almost been a little bit more exhausting than the actual physical conventions, like managing and running and organizing all these. I think it's because work doesn't stop. You're still at your desk. You still have everything coming in. You don't go on a holiday, and you're managing and you're doing all of that at the same time. So it's been quite exhausting. But yeah, there's been so many of them just left and right. But like you said, it's everyone doing the best with what they can. And that's one of the cool things about it. From March on, this industry really just coalesced, gathered, and everyone made sure that anyone who wanted to play games with friends had that opportunity, right? So, well, what do you think about that so far, Eric? How's that been on your side, the experience?
Well, I think the biggest, one of the large things I think that all of us can say is that we've all learned a lot about technology, things that we wouldn't necessarily have gotten into. All these webcams, trying to tame the right equipment and things like that. And I know, like, Marty's got good microphones and everything. He's been podcasting for a while, and he knows about recording and uploading and things like that. But it's a whole lot different to do live streams and things like that. So just trying to figure out all this, and just like our Echo today, right? Just starting out with the Echo, like how many times can we do this and still not get it 100% right? We try something new because we're fools, and every time we try something new, we struggle a little bit, and we're trying to provide good content and stuff. But I think in the end, it's the same thing that everybody else says. It's like we're just looking for a way to interact with one another and to still feel like we have a. It's the funny thing is I say a lot of times we'll say things like the board game industry. But it's more than the board game industry, because the fans are a part of that. So we're all board gamers, right? Like, I don't know anyone who's in the board game industry that isn't really a board gamer at heart, right? So it's when we talk about that, we're really talking about just board gamers, right? And board gamers, maybe we're not the best at socializing all the time. Not every one of us is big communicators, but we all want to have that communication and want to be together. I think that's what board gaming is about, is creating times and spaces for people to kind of get together. And so trying to figure out how to do that. And maybe sometimes it's just us talking about it, not necessarily playing a game like right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have any of you had any kind of memories of like a standout moment, like things like which convention maybe online convention you went to that did it well, or anything that you remember that you particularly enjoyed? All my best memories from online cons so far, I think, have been around Portal Con. Like that was just a lot of fun. It was a marathon. It was crazy.
It was crazy.
Marty and Tony eating gross things, us playing wits and wagers, Eric winning with one committing just to one specific number with wits and wagers. Just a lot of awesome memories from that. But what about you guys?
Personally, I've enjoyed the cons that were publisher focused as opposed to big sprawling cons like this weekend. Here's why. PortalCon's a prime example. It's very contained. I can see a simple schedule. I want to check out this game, this game, this game. Awesome. Renegade Games did an amazing con too. Same thing, simple schedule. Spiel Digital came out, and then all of a sudden we're getting press releases and stuff all over Twitter. Come check us out. And it's like things are over. I understand that in a real con that happens too, but it became just too much to where I can't deal with it.
Right.
In a real con, I can just walk to this booth and walk to this booth and walk to this booth, and in real time see what I want to see. And it's not really the case with a virtual con. So for me personally, the best ones were the ones that the publishers ran and focused on their game. Capstone Games is another one that did a good one too.
Yeah, and the chat seems to agree with you as well. And chat, definitely for everyone, as we're talking and answering all these questions, for everyone, your opinions as well. And I'll toss it over to Eric to answer next. But I do know that I didn't see this one, and everyone's had a different approach. Everyone's kind of figuring it out. But Ignatius said that he checked out something called Tricon, where they almost had like an MMO, where you had a little avatar and you actually walked around a hall and engaged with things. I didn't see much about it, but like that is something we haven't seen at all. So maybe, that's one thing to try to do to make this a little bit more engaging. But I don't know. Well, what do you think, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know if you guys know who Ant Labs are, but Anthony and Francis of Ant Labs, I was at Dice Tower Con walking around, and I saw them and I said hi, whatever. But then later they were sitting down and they're reading the instructions or the rules to Council of Four. And I know that game. So I don't know if you guys have done this, but if you're walking around a con and you see somebody reading the rules to a game that you say, hey, would you like me to teach you that game? And they said, sure. Do you want to sit down and play with us? And I said, sure. And we sat down and I played with them and I got some interaction time and I got to know them as people and we chatted about a lot of different things and stuff. And that doesn't necessarily happen on these virtual cons. We don't have those kind of interactions. And like, even if I had like a little avatar that I'm walking around, I mean, like I don't know that like nice shoes. I mean, what do you say to each other? I'm not
it's
sure.
Just another way, I guess, of trying to capture that thing that we really can't capture, right?
Right.
But
The personal human interaction doesn't really happen until, and like, honestly, like doing this right now, I can see Marty and David and just seeing their postures and their interactions with things that I'm saying and things like this. Having those interactions are really helpful. And like I don't know if you guys played much digital games, but like when you're doing the table simulator type games, if you are maybe just listening to the person, I can't imagine just texting back and forth on that. But even just listening to them, you get some of the interaction because you can hear their tone and stuff like that. But one of the things that I learned in being in sales is that I think it's something like 70% of communication happens with physical, and like very little of it has. Oh, it's Bonacore. Very little of it has anything to do with the actual words that we say. Mm-hmm. So there's the tone and the physical interaction. So how do you do that in a digital environment? Right now, when we interact with the chat, it's just them texting us, right? So we can't hear their tone. We can't. So we're only getting a very small percentage of their communication. We have to apply. What are you going to do? Put the little smiley faces and stuff like that at the end of everything? I don't know. So, I mean, that's just my observation with those things. Is that it's really hard to get that kind of level of communication. And as me and Luke have said multiple times this morning, we really kind of like to talk shit to each other when we're playing games.
Yeah, and I was telling Eric before we went on this morning, and that's true, but I'm going to just gloss over it because he's much better at it than I am. I've been playing a lot of Root Digital, which is time delay, right? So you can have play and go where you can play, you can answer your turn, do your thing, and then walk away. But, it's never going to replace the in-person experience because you can make the eye contact with one of the other players and look down at the wooden lion's base and say, and you both know what has to happen, and you can't just do that. So I am going to transition in here, and boom, now we have the one, the only Stephen Bonacore. I think he's visible.
It's about time you added me with audio. I can't believe it.
He's never had to been kept quiet on mute for so long.
That's right. I didn't do such a thing. Wait a minute. Why is the Podfather waiting?
That's right.
Why is this picture bigger than us? Come on.
I'm sorry. Hold on.
The Podfather of gaming is more important than you. I'm sorry.
I just want to thank you for making me not the oldest person in this chat now.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Come on. Old jokes. It's very unbecoming of you, old jokes. Ageism in this industry is awful, I'm telling you. Awful.
I agree.
Oh.
You're a youngster. Come on. You're not even... Are you even 50?
Yes. Shut up.
On that note, I do want to say I'm very excited to finally in May be.
Hold on. Steven said there's an echo again. So whatever you did, everybody else, mute him or something.
Hold on. Got it. Okay, I see. We're learning as we go. Perfect. That should.
Sounds fine to me.
Perfect. Okay. Now it's working. All right. We're learning, guys. This is the first time I've had to loop in this many people at once. But I do want to say, if we're talking about ages, I'm very happy to finally in May be able to have a 3 in front of my age. So
look at him bragging.
Oh, shut up. Oh, my God.
Such a baby.
Yeah, he's a child.
Anyway, how you guys doing? This is great. Thank you so much for inviting me, Luke.
Is it?
I literally just hung up. You're a jerk. I literally just hung up with Ignacy. We finished our latest podcast, episode 168, Board Games Insider. You should all be listening. So it's really great to be here, and it's so nice. I haven't really seen anybody here visually, much less in person, in 8 months or more. Mm-hmm. So great to see you guys.
Yeah, and
we were just talking about how different it's been with digital cons and how everyone's experience has been with digital cons. And one of the first things I was thinking about is that you were going to be joining this, and I'm so used to at BGG Con coming and seeing you and giving you a big hug, and it's just hasn't happened, and I haven't seen people. And one of the other things that Eric mentioned is, I'm in sales, and I love to talk to people about games. Sales is all about relationships, right? And so me not being able to just stand in front of somebody and talk to them has been such a challenge this year. It's been really a big challenge. Calling people on the phone is just not the same thing as standing there talking to them, and so I've been missing the conventions.
It's obviously been a very tough year for a lot of people, right? I mean, I'm very blessed to have been able to retire this year, and I think I live in paradise here in Florida, South Florida.
I would disagree.
But but for so many people, it's been hard. And then just on the, for us extroverts, it's really odd, not being out there and just doing more things and seeing more people. I mean, I literally canceled 15 trips this year, which is just an astonishing number of trips. And I really miss all my friends, all of you guys. Maybe not Luke too much, but all of you guys. I really miss you. And I do, and I'm the eternal optimist in this whole thing. I believe that next year we're gonna have a convention season, not full, I don't think, because I don't think by the Gamma Trade Show this is all gonna be away, which would have been the first thing, I guess, of the new year. But hopefully at some point next year, I'm praying, I'm optimist. We'll see each other at some point.
Yeah.
Ben just asked a really good question. I was going to bring this up too. He said in the chat, do you see digital conventions going forward, or is it just a flash in the pan for the pandemic? Personally, I don't see the scale of this happening again. But like I said, like we did with PortalCon and stuff, which PortalCon kind of has their online thing anyway. Yeah, publisher focused. I think it's a good way to get the word out and kind of control the message yourself and not be part of this big blob. So I do think that now that everybody knows how to do it, you'll see it, but not to the same scale. That's my opinion.
I think that every major convention, right? What are the right? The Origins, Gen Con, Essen, BGG. I'll call them a major convention. Dice Tower, maybe not them, but because they like the in-person thing. No. I mean they're major, but I don't think that they'll do it because they want you to be there. And all the guys that would be doing the live stuff would be online. But all the other ones, I think, will have, going forward, a digital component. I don't, like you said, not as big, but I think that it's here to stay. It's just not going to be, as big as what we've seen people try to put on with varying degrees of success.
I think that also that we've had a lot of, if you think about before the pandemic, we started having more and more, at least some of the, what would you say, the shows or contests and things like that were being broadcast, right? So maybe, and then we'd have little interviews. I know Marty, I know that you and I think it was Chaz did some stuff at Dice Tower. The last Dice Tower we were at, you guys were doing interviews with different people and kind of doing that kind of thing. And I can see having those small places where, like, okay, I couldn't go to the convention, but I still kind of can feel connected to it, but not overwhelmed. Like we were saying, Spiel was just like, there's so much going on. It's hard to grab one source and feel like you're connected to the con.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the things you talked about, Eric, is that, I think we've all learned so much about doing these digital conventions. We've all learned so much about broadcasting and even the conventions, like at Gamma, BGG had an online channel, and during BGG Con, they have the online interviews and things like that. I think we're going to see that grow, but I think, like Marty said, we're going to see these just specific publisher conventions be more and more, and just a little bit behind the veil. These are very great events for us as a publisher to be able to connect with our fans. And so I definitely think we're going to see more of this stuff going forward. It's not going away. I don't think it's going to be on the same scale once we're back in person in conventions, but I definitely think it's still going to be around for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was going to go back to something that actually Eric said before Steven jumped on about using Tabletopia and TTS, Tabletop Simulator. I know a lot of people are doing that now, and it's a great way to get a chance to sit down and play games and stuff like that. I just do not like it. I'm of the mindset that, to me, some of the pleasures of the board games is actually physically touching the pieces. And it's like you said, Eric, it's like part of it's also interacting and seeing people. I want to hold the cards. I want to move the meeple. And I just do not get the same experience. It's probably, to me, 60% of the experience of playing the board game. So to me, I'd rather I'm just going to go turn on a video game.
Yeah,
a regular video game instead.
Right. It's like playing a board game underwater or something like that. Yeah, I guess we could do it, but I would rather just play a board game.
So the Tabletopia aspect of it was something we really pushed forward at the start of this 2020, the pandemic. With we put 6 of our titles onto Tabletopia, and that was a great way for people to demo, engage, and try the game out for the first time. But we definitely don't think this is going to be something that people are going to be continually using to play the game. And for myself too, I mean, I like the games digitally more, but Tabletopia, I'm not really finding myself on there much playing games. Myself either. It's been just a great experience for example, Detective, we put Suburbia onto Tabletopia. So, somebody can download the PDF file and print it and do all that, or they can just get everyone into a Tabletopia room and play Detective on there and try the game out. But I don't think it's going to be a replacement by any means for people actually to play the game.
Certainly not going to be a replacement. I agree. I am not just a huge fan of sitting around on a virtual table. It just doesn't work for me. Not only like, just trying to figure out the interface, which is obnoxious on like Tabletop Simulator, for instance. I'm too dumb to figure it out, I think, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
There's a steep learning curve.
Yeah, so I don't want to put the effort in. I'd rather go watch TV at that point. But yeah, I want to sit around a table. I want to look you in the eye. I want to have a drink with you. And I want to hang out and have a good time. That's my way of gaming. That's what I'm going to continue doing. And this is a small intermediate, step into getting back into the real world of gaming when we can do that.
Yeah, I will say that I think that places like these table simulators do have a place for Kickstarter and stuff like that. So you've got a new game and we want to try something out. I tried the new Eric Lang game out by going online and actually playing it and going, oh, this is pretty cool. So the third in his whatever what is it called? What's it called? Ankh?
Ankh, yeah.
Yeah. It's a great game. And I know that because I got to play it in a table simulator. And I will say this, I liked it in a table simulator, so I know that I'll like it as a board game because it'd be much better experience as a board game. Right?
We have a couple of questions in chat, and actually now that Steven's here, it might be a really good time to answer this question. Steven and Luke will probably have a lot of insight on this. Will the whole pandemic, affect Christmas sales? Do you think? And some say it'll improve board game sales because people have less things to do with lockdown. But obviously, there's supply issues. So, what do you guys think will, how the pandemic will affect Christmas sales?
So let me go first, if you don't mind, on this.
No.
So when I retired, right on August 1st, Stronghold Games, and I never talk about numbers, I really don't, but I give general numbers. Stronghold Games was up 15% year over year in total sales. Total sales via your regular, like via Amazon, via hobby game distribution, via specialty. Obviously, no convention sales, right? But that's always the smallest amount anyway. So we were up 15%. I don't remember or know the indie boards and cards side of the house. Not important, but you can see what my point is, that sales were extremely strong. And just to add one more thing to that, we had, I'll use the term, overprinted Terraforming Mars last year. Not on purpose, but we had a significant stock because of various things, like they were doing a print run in Europe, so we wanted to get involved with it. It's good to hit the opportunities to make a print run when you're joining with partners. So we had a very good size stock heading into this, where factories were shutting down and stuff. So we're like, oh, this is great. So we're gonna have no problem having games available for the rest of the year. Sales of Terraforming Mars were so strong that basically we sold out, or came really close to selling out in the middle, like in August, right as I'm leaving. Wow. We're selling out because we were at like 50% higher in that title due to people saying like, I need a game. Let me go. It's like flight to quality, we talk about in the stock market. When people get worried about things, they go buy the blue chip stocks and things like that because, well, those are the ones that are going to perform. So they went back and they said, I've always wanted one of these and I've heard such great things. I'm going to go get this now. So sales were very strong leading up in the big part of the pandemic. I think sales will continue to be strong going through the rest of this year and the pandemic.
Yep.
Yeah. For us, it'll be very same thing. So years down the line, we'll be looking back at this time and trying to determine the net, whether it was net positive or negative for the industry. There's going to be a lot of companies that are going to struggle. There's going to be a lot of stores that are going to struggle. But as far as just from the consumer side, the industry is going to grow because of this. I've seen more like articles on New York Times, on Huffington Post, on Washington Post, on all these different sites talking about board games. Detective and Robinson Crusoe also sold out for us as well. May was the best month we saw all year. And I think that once the pandemic is over, you're going to have more people coming into stores as new people saying, we heard about this during the pandemic. We were seeing, all these celebrities talking about playing games, these football teams saying they're playing Catan together, and then they'll come into new stores and they'll say, what's here? I think the people that are new to the hobby is going to increase once the pandemic goes down. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I know Stephen has something to say.
And May is traditionally a slow month. So that's interesting, right? So May was sales in April were like in distribution and at Amazon actually were like zero, because everything was closed down, right? So distributors weren't buying because retailers were closed.
Sure.
Amazon wasn't buying because they were fulfilling, needed goods and things like that. So they literally cut back, and they were not fulfilling things like games. So it was like zero. And even with that, we were up for the year on August 1st. And so the industry overall,
was it in direct sales?
We don't do direct sales to consumer.
Yeah.
So
No, we don't do. I mean, we do zero direct sales these days on the website. We have no website sales anymore. We're talking sales via the Amazon channel, sales via hobby distribution channel, sales via specialty like Barnes and Noble and things like that.
Gotcha.
Overall, 15% up. I had something else, and which I forgot, which I'll come back to. No, that's all right. That's all right. That was it. Evergreen. I think one of the big takeaways here, and I think this is a big point, is that if you have evergreen titles, it was more important than ever right now. There are going to be companies that are going to go under, most likely, because they don't have that big title that drives the company, Terraforming Mars, Robinson Crusoe, things like that. They don't have it, so their sales are like, whatever they can like eke out and whatever they can get from that next game that comes in, but they couldn't get publicity on that game. They couldn't go to conventions to promote the games. So that's going to be problematic for those companies.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of changes. And I'm going to just jump up to a question I saw a little bit earlier about some of the negatives that we've seen besides delays. We talked a little bit about this as the state of the Portal Games 2020. Delays have been definitely a big issue this year, right? You're going to have a lot of bottlenecking because as manufacturers shut down and then the queues kind of build up, that was causing issues. But for us, the biggest issue, not necessarily delays, was the release of that title right there, which is $1 Million Script, which is a fantastic game, which is coming out in 2021, and it's actually a game that we had printed and it's in a warehouse, but because it is a party game, it's a game where people gather and they play together. It just wasn't the right time to release a game like that. So delays were an issue, but I think also the types of games that you would release and hope for the success of, like that was going to be one of our Gen Con releases, and it's a fantastic game. It's
just retitle the game Super Spreader.
Yeah.
Oh God.
As far as that game goes, Daniel Stump, the director of The Last Exorcism, is actually the designer of that game, and it's like the prototype was phenomenal and all that. So we're gonna release it next year, but that was probably the biggest effect, which I think where I'm already seeing party games coming back out to the market, and they didn't take Eric's advice with a title change, but nonetheless they are coming back out. And so I don't know, maybe it'll be time.
One thing that I have to mention is that I spend a lot of my time talking to board game stores and board game store owners, and one of the other repercussions of this whole pandemic has been board game stores are hurting, you guys. So if as soon as you get the chance, as soon as you feel safe, as soon as you are in a position where your stores are open, go and support those stores. There are stores that have not been able to pay rent for a couple of months, and so some stores have been lucky, some stores have been able to stay open, some stores have not been able to stay open. There's Steven's contribution right there. He's picked up
he's been going to stores for a while
store.
I early on when Alliance Distributors created, technically it was the other company, that's Diamond Comics. They created this movement, Back the Comeback, hashtag Back the Comeback, and I made a video on it. I went out to a couple of stores that day and I bought from both stores. 3 stores, in fact. There was this cool stuff. There was Adventure Game Society, and there was the place Paragon Games in Boynton Beach. And I just kept going to stores and just buying a little bit from every store I could get a chance at. And yeah, I mean, these stores are either closing or they're in really bad shape. So we, going out and doing that, buying a game, buying something, it's going to help. Back the comeback. We got to do it.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that. In our Discord channel, I had pitched the idea of possibly doing a secret Santa for us this year. We never done that before, and I know that's a big thing across. BGG has a big one and stuff. Someone made a good recommendation, and if you're in Secret Santa, maybe you should do this too. Recommend as part of the wish list of including some local game stores around your area, and then maybe instead of buying it from Amazon and having it shipped, call that local game store of the person that you got, see if they carry the game, buy it for them. And then contact them and say, go to the store and pick up your gift.
That's brilliant. And that's the smartest thing I've ever heard you say in your life. I just want to make that point.
To be fair, it wasn't my idea, so I'm just relaying it.
No, that really is brilliant. Okay, so you have not said anything smart in your life then. Okay, good. But
correct.
So now I understand. No, great. That is a great idea.
It is a great idea. I do wonder too, Marty, have you noticed in your side of the industry, has there been any major changes with the way the world is just so different now? I mean, has there been any major changes for you guys that you've noticed, or has it just been kind of business as usual?
It feels kind of business as usual. Not a lot of changes. I mean, as far as the behind the scenes of like our show and how it's done. Every con that we go to, we get a big boost because people want to hear about all the games coming out. We missed those this year, which is, it's a shame, but that's just kind of the way things are. But other than that, everything still seems sort of flat. It's just that, a lot of the games that we get to and we get to play and stuff, people's like, oh, that sounds good. I really wish I could play it, but I got nobody to play it with, sort of deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine that's got to be a difficult, transition to make whenever you're talking about a game and people are like, man, I can't wait to get together with friends and play that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that Steven said too is like this idea of evergreens. A lot of people going back to classic titles and stuff like that. I just imagine like during this time, there's so many games you would talk about under the radar, and how many games are probably under the radar right now. So many good games are not going to be recognized because they came out this year, and they just you're just not going to have the same kind of buzz, the same kind of seeing it played, having those kind of experiences and all that kind of stuff. Watching Tom Vassell play a game over video is not the same as actually getting to play the game at a con with a bunch of friends. So, and one of the things that I'll bring up, and I don't know how you guys think about this, and Stephen, you might have good insight on this, but I know that local cons don't do a lot of sales for people in particular. I don't think it's a big place where a lot of sales come. But I think that local cons are really great gateways. And that's where we get a lot of new people into the industry. And I'm wondering how that might affect the growth overall of board gamers, because we lack some of those local cons, and even the fact that the retailers are closed. Mm-hmm. So right now, if you want to get into board gaming, you have to somehow intuit that you want to know something about board gaming, instead of, hey, there's an event locally, we could go check it out. I guess they're playing Monopoly. Oh, wait, this isn't Monopoly. What are you guys playing? I see a lot of aha moments at local conventions, and there are no replacements for those local conventions this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of the things that I've noticed is that a lot of the games that you mentioned, a lot of games not coming out and things not happening. I've noticed a lot of games that are coming out are like easy, great to play online, or this has a mode, specifically made for Tabletopia, or we have a way to play this on Discord. And I've seen a lot of games that are doing that are coming out. And it's one of the things that's been really great for detectives. for us is Detective plays great online. It's easy to play with your friends over, Zoom and over Discord and things like that. But I've noticed a lot of the games that are coming out are games that have that component, that are where you can play it online with people, where you can get online with people. And I haven't noticed a lot of the party games coming out. $1 Million Script is a great example of this, because people know you're not going to be putting 10 people in your living room and playing a game together right now. It's just a different atmosphere.
And what's also different too is talk about our local game stores. A lot of the local game stores are very much supported by the competitive environment. So there are many game stores out there that live and die off Magic the Gathering. And Wizards has said, we're not running any events. Those are the ones I really feel for. Like, for example, my local game store doesn't have a big Magic Gathering thing, but it's more in the miniatures. And even they're struggling there. It's like people come here to play 40K and stuff like that. Well, now they can't do that. That's where, again, if you can help out your local game stores, those that live on the competitive games such as Magic the Gathering and miniature games, they are really hurting right now.
Yeah.
So the question that Eric asked a second ago, first of all, you mentioned the sales at local cons. Yeah, they're terrible. That's you basically just go to support the local community. So you don't sell it at a local con.
Right.
Of any amount that you really care about. But you asked, like, will the new gamers, will we have a problem getting new gamers in because there haven't been local conventions? I think that most of the growth in the industry is not that way. So though that's definitely some of it. I think most of the growth in the industry is that I or you or other, gamers out there who sit down and introduce people to new games in their homes. This is where we've grown the industry more and more and more. It's bringing in people to your home and to different, just small locations to bring new people into it. And that's not happening. So that to me is very significant. I haven't thought about that at all, that this may be like a net 0 year for increasing the number of board gamers. However, at the same point, next year when we can get together, people might be so ravenous to go out and get some new stuff and to bring people in and like, hey, there's this thing going on. You really got to try this now because it's going to be great this year. That might offset this. So it's an interesting question to think about.
Yeah. I think I introduced my mom and her sister, my aunt, to Detective because I played it over Zoom. But I can't think of any new gamers that I've introduced to gaming, this year during the COVID times.
Yeah, right. I mean, think about that for a second, right? And that's what we do, right? That's what we do more than anything. Is whether you're a publisher or an enthusiast or whatever the case may be, we're out there evangelizing. Have we been doing that really? Yeah, I mean, sure, the podcast. I've never been. The Board Games Insider has never been this much on schedule ever, right? For the 6 years we've been doing it, whatever it is, 168 episodes now. Yeah. We've never released a podcast every week, during a year. So we'll have 52 releases this year of the thing because we're like sequestered, right? So we have nothing, we're not traveling. So we got them all out this year.
You're retired, so now you got the time.
That's right. And I got that too. But I have been playing new games, and I will continue to. This one's still in shrink, as you can see.
I'm glad you were able to get a copy.
Yeah, ran out. I got this. I do have some people visiting this week, and this will come out of shrink. In fact, I should start opening it right now. Like,
ooh, an unboxing video from Botacore.
I've never done an unboxing video. I'm ripping it open. Oh, I can't
play striptease music, Luke.
I don't know how to manage that. Yeah.
Paula's laughing over there. She's
So somebody asked in the chat if we think more 2-player games are getting played right now than 3 to 5-player games. To me, the answer is most definitely yes. I mean, absolutely yes.
But more 2-player only games. Maybe, but definitely just more games, obviously, that support 2 players are getting played.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Yes.
And I want to ask the chat for you guys, have you been playing more two-player games? I think the answer for all of us is probably, yeah. I've played more games with my wife alone than I ever have. And, I think
100%.
I wonder what people in the chat are feeling. If you guys are playing more two-player games, obviously I think the answer is probably yes, but I'm interested to see what people have to say.
My wife is wonderful. I mean, I can't say enough about her. She's not even going to watch this broadcast, so I don't even know why I'm saying it. It's not to my advantage, but she is wonderful. She knows that I want to play games. Like anytime that she says, "Would you like to play a game?" the answer is always yes, right? So about every other night we've been playing games during the pandemic, and she has really just recently, she's like, "Hey, I really want to play a game. Do you want to play a game?" Because it's been several days since we played a game. And it just became, it's like, this is the perfect way for us to hang out and do stuff together. And it's much better than watching TV and stuff like that. So we're kind of coming into it. I mean, she always was sort of on the sideline with gaming. But I think after this, I think I'm going to classify her as a actual board gamer now, So, I mean, I think that's what's happened during this pandemic. So that's pretty exciting.
That is pretty awesome.
I know one thing that I rarely ever played in the past and covered on the show was solo games. And again, it was kind of the thing that I just never got into solo type games. Like I just rather sit and play with somebody. But I've done more this year. In fact, we got one that was just kind of announced or released, I think, at Digital Essen, and that's Under Falling Skies from CGE.
Right. Yeah.
Which in the past, if I would have gotten this, it's like, well, I may play it sometime. It's like, ooh, now I'm itching to play it because there's nothing else to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. So somebody just mentioned that a lot of people in the chat just mentioned that they've been playing more solo games. And do we think that solo games are more prevalent? I think that answers the question. Definitely. Solo games, I think, are a lot more prevalent now than they would have been had we not been in the same situation that we are this year.
I went through my games and I found, and I just because I'm bored and I like to play with my games, I rearranged my shelves and I put all the games that I can play solo from top to bottom. So the first games I look at basically are the solo games. And I have over 50 games that I can play solo.
Solo gaming was becoming huge before COVID. And it's games that can be played solo, right? Not just a game that's a one-player game, but both. It was huge before, and it was growing and growing. Now, if you don't have a solo mode in your game, you're crazy at this point. So.
Yeah, and so many. I have to do the shameless Portal plug here, but so many of the Portal games have great solo modes, and that's one of the things I love when I get a game that I love to play, but I can't get 3 to 5 people together to play it. I can still play it solo, and it's one of the things that I love. I've been a solo gamer for a long time, and it just, to me, it adds so much value to a game. I look at a game, especially I'll see a Kickstarter or something like that, and I'm like, that looks pretty good. I don't know. Oh, it's got a solo mode. Well, okay, I'm in. And so it's definitely one of those things that I love, setting up a game solo. And man, has there been time for that this year? It's just definitely been times where it's like it's game time, but there's nobody else to play with, so solo game it is.
I don't think you can have a shameless plug when you're on the feed of the company that you're plugging. I think you are.
It's just a plug, right?
It's called a plug, and it's okay.
David, he's been dealing with, and I have to mention this, he's been now working with us part-time for quite a little bit, and then up full-time for a few months. And he's been dealing with all of the grunt work and the bureaucratic stuff and all just like that rough stuff of the industry that Steven is intimately aware of and familiar with. And he still has not had any of that really beneficial, positive stuff of going to conventions and just interacting with fans and traveling and just playing games. So I feel so bad for him because here he is doing shameless plugs and sales, and he's just working hard on, making phone calls and sending out invoices, and he hasn't gone to a single convention yet working in the industry. How sad is that?
Not a single industry convention as an employee. So wow. I'm looking forward to it. I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah, soon. When next year, Stephen the Eternal Optimist is saying next year.
That's right. Next year. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're coming up to the hour here. If there are any questions that anyone has for our extremely experienced cast here, you've got all sides of the.
There's he calling us old again, Stephen.
He just went back to the old comment. I can't believe this.
Nice.
I'm just looking at the chat here. There's been some stuff, so let me get caught up.
Shout outs, because I've been looking. I can see the chat here on the side here, and shout out to Mark B, who's one of the Knights of the Stronghold. Dawn Mage, he's on here. I saw him on there. Dutch Yoda on there. People I know.
Dutch.
It's really nice to see some nice.
Is on there.
Really nice to see some of these names I know. James Cartwright, Benjamin Nicholson. Really nice to see everybody out there. Thanks for supporting Portal Games and coming and hanging out. This is really cool.
And this is the last event. I think we did a total of 22 hours of streaming total for Portal.
Wow.
Because they were doing stuff in Europe in the mornings, and then when we woke up, we all took over here. So we've been doing a lot of stuff, and I think David will say, like, we've been doing a lot of these online contents and streaming. Ignacio loves it. He loves interacting with the fans, putting out content for everyone, and we've got the best fans in the industry. I stand by that statement. So it's been, even now after all these hours and after everybody is tired, I'm sure, and everyone's wives are screaming or husbands are screaming and dinner has to get made, they're still here with us. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I think one quick question before we leave. Somebody asked as a joke, but I think this would be a good question. What has everybody got going on for the next couple of months? Somebody asked if Steven has a lot of hard work in the pool coming up.
So I saw that question, and I thank you, Benjamin. I want to talk about that for a moment here. So I have 3 meetings tomorrow on my calendar. Podcast, like appearance, a live stream appearance, a meeting to mentor somebody in things. So Paula actually has been saying to me, my girlfriend Paula has been saying to me, like, yeah, you're retired, with air quotes around, that she goes, like, and I'm keeping myself busy. So the answer is I'm really, really keeping myself busy.
That's awesome.
And, doing things like my happy hour that I do twice a week, bringing people together just to talk. Of course, the podcast, mentoring some people. I have investments that I analyze and look to go into and things like that. So it's not all about being in the pool, but yes, I will be in the pool this week, guaranteed. It's 85 degrees in Florida all the time.
Yeah. So Marty, what do you have coming up the next few months? What do you have working on? What are you working on? What's going on with you?
So usually when we end up in the year, we always have our anniversary episode in December. So that'll always be a big thing. We always try to do something special for it. We just kicked off a new series called At the Table, where we interview different people within the industry, not just designers and publishers. But today, my wife and I just interviewed, we're excited about this. I don't know if anybody watches the Great British Bake Off reality show. A few years back, one of the finalists was a lady named Kim Joy, who was very popular. She's from England. She's not only a baker, she's into board games and is designing a board game with James Hudson that's going to be coming out next year. So we got that series coming out. And of course, we got, like I mentioned, we got our Discord channel, which we're cranking up now and getting ready to do a Secret Santa. So if anybody wants to join us in for that, that'd be exciting too.
Awesome. What about you, Eric? What do you have coming up in the next couple of months? What's going on besides the Captain's Hour?
Right. In the Captain's Hour, I've been doing. I'm building up a pool of people that we can actually bring in. So normally I do Neuroshima Hex, and I'm just me versus the easy AI, because if you're going to do it easy. But normally that's what I do. So I'm building up a pool of people that I'm going to have in. I know I just talked to Matthew Jude and stuff like this. So I've talked to Marty. Marty's going to come and visit me as well. And Stephen, you can come play Neuroshima. And one of the things that I'm trying to get people to understand is you don't have to know how to play the game. Because all the information is out there, we know what it is. We pull the tiles. I can explain them. We can go over your possible choices and all that stuff. And that actually helps to inform the audience as to different strategies and tactics that can be used. So I find that that's really probably the better thing to do anyway, is just to kind of talk through them instead of sort of secretly in your mind keeping the strategies and and just watching the moves being played. That's kind of boring. Also, it gives me an opportunity to find out what's going on in other people's channels and things like that. So I'm kind of excited about that. The other thing is, and just for people who don't know, Ignacy said that he would never, ever, ever publish Neuroshima RPG in English. And I kept on saying, but you got to give me a copy of this game. And he said, I'll never give it to you. It's terrible. I was stupid. I was young when I wrote it. I don't want to give it to you, blah, blah, blah. And I swear, I don't even think that I asked him. I ask him all the time. I used to ask him every time I saw him. But he actually gave me a copy of it this year. And so I've got 100 pages translated now into English. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
no.
So anyway, 300 pages to go, but I'm finding it exciting and I'm having a real good time doing that. It's like become a hobby for me to do this translation. And it's not just a translation, it's a translation and edit. Mm-hmm. So I love the creative process of doing that. And so that's what I've been doing. That and also going to Sweetwater Music and buying guitar equipment. I've gotten back into guitar. I don't know.
No. So I just want to say something. At the very beginning of that, did everybody catch that he plays Neuroshima Hex on easy mode and he's bringing on me?
What I'm saying, smart. Just say it.
So what about you, Luke? What do you have coming up in the next couple of months?
Q4 is coming up, so it's going to be busy.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
it's going to be busy.
I'm reading. I got back into reading fantasy, so I'm tackling Malazan, Book of the Fallen. I'm trying to get all my friends in to read with me. I've got over here, I've got my activity shelf. So I've got my harmonica. I'm going to be digging into getting better at harmonica, and I have Go. So I'm going to try to play lots of Go, play some harmonica, read some Malazan, and do an awesome Q4 of Portal, because it's going to be busy. It's the holidays, right? So there's always going to be a lot of work to do there. Yeah.
And that is definitely my answer as well. I'm going to be doing a lot of work for Portal, and sales are going to be busy, and we're going to have a great fourth quarter. But I'm excited because we have a lot of great stuff coming up. So I know you guys have seen a lot of it during this stream, and I'm excited to get some great games to everybody. So that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But,
so you're doing a harmonica too, and y'all going to do a duet?
We're going to start a new blues channel.
Nice.
I'll
Very
play
cool.
harp, and he can play harmonica, and we could just,
So nice. It's like we all have lots of activities planned. We're getting through it, and then I'm excited for 2021. It's gonna be a good year. I'm ready to put 2020 behind us and get back to normal, huh?
Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. This has been awesome. I'm so glad that besides for the first few minutes of just trying to figure things out, everything went pretty well. So thank you to Eric. Thank you to Marty. Thank you to Steven. Thank you to David. It's been an awesome way to wrap up the spiel. And yeah, I mean, thank you to everyone for joining us on this.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Have a good holiday.
Play games. Good games.